China had a better understanding of why it is important for them to understand the world. Hence, the majority of people have a negative perception of China, but I believe the reason for that is lack of understanding. You see, it's natural to fear what you don't understand. Hello there, my name is Simply Rhoda on YouTube. If it's your first time to be on this channel, you've come to the right place. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell so that each time I post a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. If you're a returning subby, thank you, honey, for always coming to watch my videos and doing this for me. You see, I'm a Zimbabwean national who have been living in China for over a decade now, and I'm married here and I've settled my life. I can pretty much say that I'm settled in this country. For over this 10 years, I've worked here, I've studied here, and I've seen it all. I used to have negative perceptions about China. Sometimes you can easily be misinformed if you don't do enough research or if you've never been to a place to experience things for yourself. Actually, China is one of the best countries I've been to, one of the best countries I believe exist in this world. And also, if you have a better understanding of the Chinese culture, Chinese people, I think you love this place. So to have a better understanding of the things that you think negatively about China, the best way is to travel to China, live in China, or else if you get the opportunity to work in China so you can experience these things firsthand. It might be shocking that your perceptions about China will change drastically. Living here for over a decade and seeing the massive blooming of economical changes have massively impacted on my personal life. So today in this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 things that I've learned living in China and how heavily they've impacted in my life, of course, in a positive way. I'm going to start with the first thing that I have learned about Chinese people: the importance of family. You see, in China, most people work far away from their families. There is a lot of migration to big cities for better opportunities, greener pastures and stuff. So you find most people live in other cities very far away from their families, and they only get to have maybe a week or 2 weeks of a longer holiday that they will use to go back to their cities, to go back to their hometowns, to be with their family. You find every Chinese during this time, family comes first. Nothing will surpass that. Family comes first. This is obviously shown by how it will be hard to travel from one city to another. I've noticed this, that during this time, if I want to travel, you find that it will be so difficult. It will be, the train stations will be packed, the airports will be packed, and sometimes you can't even find tickets. Because why? Chinese values the importance of family. This is the time they'll take to go back and be with their loved ones. This is something that I've missed, and me living in China before the COVID, I used to go home once a year. Now, thinking of that, I've learned a lot that during that time I go back home, I try as much as I can to see everybody. Even though people or some of my siblings live in the same country with my parents or my grandparents or my cousins and my aunts, they may spend almost 2 years or more without visiting each other. But me being in China, I've learned the importance of being with family and getting in touch with family. So each time I visit my home country, Zimbabwe, I make sure I try to see everybody I know within that short period of time. This is something that I've learned in China. Okay, now without further ado, let's go on to the second part that I've learned about China: the ability to save money. You see, Chinese people save money and they're well knowledgeable about saving money. Okay, I want to give you an example. An average Chinese will earn around 500 US dollars. I'm converting the Chinese money to US dollars, or 500 US dollars or less than that. But with that 500 US dollars, the person can save about 40% of that or 50% of that $500, you know, and they are able to send some of the money to their family. They are able to do a lot of things with that money. They are able to live comfortable on that money. Whereas when I look at myself, sometimes we may earn more than 500, but still we'll say, I don't have money. So I've learned hugely the ability to save money for the future. Chinese are big savers, and they don't spend like what we do, like what I used to do. Now I can say I've learned pretty much that saving for the future, you have a comfortable, even if there's an emergency, you'll be comfortably if you save now. This is something I've learned from the Chinese people that people will not spend on things without thinking. Chinese people will not go out of their budget. Chinese people will not go on a ramen fashion trends and stuff like that. Chinese people will not. Chinese have the ability to save and save for the generation. That's why you find that Chinese have generational wealth, because they are able to save to the next generation. So you find their wealth will always circulate and live within the family. This is the ability for them to save. This is something that I've learned from China and from the Chinese people, and it's hugely helping me in my life right now. Chinese people don't live from paycheck to paycheck. They use the money they get from their paycheck to add on what they have already. Hence, they never complain. Never see a Chinese person begging outside. Why? Because they have this ability to save for the future. So they always have those savings. Okay, let's go to the third thing that I've learned about in China during my 10 years. I've learned the importance of education. You see, most of my colleagues never learned how to cook until finished university, Most Chinese, they believe that the importance of education will definitely set you up for your future. So you find most families, they do not worry about teaching their children how to cook, how to wash, how to do housework. No, they value the importance of education. Also, this also reflects in their education system. You find that students will stay in school for the whole day. If they're in primary school, they start school at 7:50 and they finish school at 4:30 in most cases, depending with the season. And this time will also increase as they go higher, maybe middle school, high school. They spend more time in that because they know investing in education, they believe that investing in education will better set somebody's life in the future, So by having a good understanding of this, most parents invest in their children's education. Chinese people will not care how much it costs. What they care more is about their children getting the right education. Hence, you see, there is a number of people or Chinese students going overseas for university and stuff. And then you look at the average Chinese salary here and you wonder how they are able to manage that, because they are able to save. They understand the importance of education in their kids. They understand that some things like cooking and others, these are things that a person can learn later in their lives. So they don't invest in that. They invest in the child's education. This is something I learned about China. Now let's move on to the fourth thing that I've learned in China. I've learned the importance of learning English. Learning another language is very important to the Chinese people. You see that why there are so many English teachers in China. It is because China had a better understanding of why it is important for them to understand the world. Hence, I quote Nelson Mandela, say, if you communicate to a man in another language, they may take it to their head. But if you communicate to another person in their own language, they will take it to heart. Why this is like so? So I also look at the teachers that are teaching in China. I think it is important to invest also in the language, learning the Chinese language. When you learn the Chinese language and be able to understand the Chinese culture and the Chinese people, this will also save your time, save your troubles, and hence teaching the Chinese people and understanding the culture will come in handy if you understand their language. Hence, that's why you see that Chinese are invested in learning English, because they want to understand foreign languages. And if you look before the COVID, if you look at the charts of how people travel in the tourism industry and something like that, you find in most countries, their tourism was blooming because of the Chinese travelers. If you want to see this, Chinese are the most well-traveled people in the world, because they've been everywhere. They travel everywhere. They learn, they study the languages, they invest in that. They are well educated. They know more about countries, unlike us, So you find that they just don't live in a bubble. When people hear about China, because of what the media portrays about China, people may overlook all this and see these good things about the Chinese people. So I have a lot that I've learned living in China during these 10 years and seeing how things are blooming, how people are welcoming, and how people live their ordinary lives. I have a lot of takeaways than a lot to give to Chinese people, actually. Now, let's move on to the sixth thing that I've learned living in China. I've learned the ability to solve problems. Chinese people have a very, very good way of solving problems. You find that in China, there is nothing that has no solution. So you find in Chinese, they will always say, 想办法. No matter how big the problem is, they always think of 想办法, meaning that think about solving the problem. Think about the solution. Okay? Shang Bamfa. That's think and solving. Think and solving. So you find that there is no quick way of solving problems in China. And Chinese people believe that, or they understand that every problem that comes their way has a solution to it. And they will think about the solution before they rationally make rational decisions they will regret in the future. So you find that panicking, unlike what I used to do before, I learned this ability to think and to also know that every problem has a solution. So I've adopted the way of solving problems in China, that every problem that comes, there is a solution to it, but you need to think in a calm way, think or find ways, because every problem has a solution. You can have sleepless nights how to solve your problem, but eventually you solve the problem, but you can never get the time that you wasted stressed about it. So in China, they have a tremendous way of solving in a calm manner, and definitely problems are solved. Okay, now let's look at the next one. That is the seventh thing, respect. Chinese people have a huge respect, even if they don't agree with what you are saying, but they will never undermine your ability as a person. They always show that respect. They may not agree with what you are saying, but they may not embarrass you in your face. They may try to find a better way to show you that your way is not the right way, or they have a better way to that thing. So Chinese people have a huge respect, especially for their elders. They have a huge respect for their leaders. They never talk bad about their leaders. They never talk bad about their elders. Although they have misunderstanding with this, they will not speak out in disrespect to their elders or their leaders. You are young, it doesn't matter you are old, it doesn't matter you are what, they always keep that respect that way. You may see a billionaire eating on the same table with poor people. They do that because they don't want to show their superiority. They have respect irregardless of your status. They have respect for each other. An ordinary man can eat on the same table with the rich man. In China, you find that. A rich man can go and eat his breakfast or his lunch at a very, very low-class restaurant. It's normal. So it's not like how much you have will show you where you can eat. No, Chinese people are not like that. They respect everyone equally. They treat each other equally. That is the eighth thing I've learned. That is genuine caring about each other, irregardless of your status as well. Chinese people, this, I think, if you've been in China, or some people who have lived in China, you find that Chinese people have genuine care, and they show this by how they can treat you. For example, it might not be just you're a foreigner. If you ask an ordinary Chinese person on the street for directions to a place, for them, they feel like they don't just feel okay to tell you how to get to this place. They go out of their way to take you to that place so that they feel safe themselves, because they have a fear. They are extra caring. And once they take you to that place, they don't expect anything from you. Unlike in my country, if somebody shows you a place or take you to a place, they may want you to pay them for doing that. They may ask you to pay or buy me a drink, do this for me because I've done this for you. Chinese will not do this in exchange of anything. It's out of genuine care. A Chinese person will spend their time solving your problems and asking nothing from you because they do it genuinely. They don't expect you to pay back what they do for you or what they give to you. This I've learned it over the years. I've lived here. This is something I've adopted. Sometimes I've noticed that people from other countries may feel entitled in the end, but Chinese people are not like that. When they help you genuinely. It's up to you to appreciate that. The ninth thing that I've learned being here, I've learned the importance of health. Yeah, health is very important in China. Hence, you find kids from children from young age, they understand the importance of being healthy, doing healthy things. Like I say, you see an average person, yes, people, the life expectancy is over 70, is so high in China. Why? It is because of how they live and how they believe, they understand the importance of being healthy, once healthy. So you find that this is something that I've learned in China, that what you put in your body is all about keeping yourself healthy. Hence, you find that when the weather is warm enough outside, you can easily even in winter, you see Chinese people will try to build a community whereby they can practice healthy activities such as dancing, walking, running, you name it. Chinese people can do this because they understand investing in their health is the best wealth one can have, you know. Some of them, they use the outdoors. There are so many public built healthy equipments that you see Chinese people can go to use for free. The government has invested in that to promote the Chinese people to exercise health. You find, first to come to China, I was told, don't drink cold water. Cold water is not is not healthy. You find most Chinese people drink warm water. They understand the importance of drinking warm water. They understand the importance of eating healthy. They understand the importance of exercising. You find in schools, it's important for Chinese kids to have a sports class, sports activity. They are even tested for their health in schools, you know. So the importance of health, I understand it when I came here. We used to just never care about investing in exercises and never investing in what I eat, what I'm putting in my body, the impact and the effect of that. So that's why you find the rate of obesity in some countries is so high. Why? Because they don't value the importance of one's health. I've learned this important lesson in China. And yeah, so you see, most Chinese people can live over 70 years. We can say they have a high life expectancy in China because of understanding the importance of one's health. Now let's look at the last one, last but not least. Since I said I'm going to be sharing just 10 things that I have learned from Chinese people. I've learned the ability to have patience. Yes. Most Chinese are patient. They wait for things patiently. Whereas when I first come here, I remember I used to be so, I was not patient. I was so anxious about things. Like if you say you are going to do this, you have to do it. I wouldn't take it when you tell me the other reasons, you know. I'd say a promise is a credit. So I expect somebody to do it. But this is something that I've learned, that good things comes to those who wait. So the importance of waiting and the importance of patience in China pays a lot. So that's it, y'all. So I think if you used to have some more perceptions about China, irregardless of what you see on the news or hear from the social media and stuff, I think the best way you can do this is either find a chance, travel to China, see how average people live here, have a better understanding firsthand. You can even work here if it's possible, so that if you live here for some time, you will be amazed on how the perceptions you have about China will totally or drastically change. Hence, that's why you find that the Chinese economy is blooming. It is blooming. And I think there is a lot to learn. If you want to be successful, I think there is a lot to learn about the Chinese way of doing things. You know, and sometimes we have perceptions because of what we hear from other people. It could be the pressure from other people we know, our seekers. So sometimes have the ability to see things on your own way. You know, I can say living in China has hugely impacted on the way I see things and the way I solve things and see things. So it's not only about hearing whatever people are saying and you take on to that. Whatever people are saying, you take on to that. There are a lot of perceptions about China, and there are a lot of things that are wrong about China. And most of these perceptions are coming from people who haven't been to China, but who usually depend on the media, depend on what they read, but not actually looking or finding the truth out of it. So I can surely say, from the video, if you like this video, if you watch this video until this end, you are the champ. It means you have genuine interest in the Chinese, and you have genuine interest on knowing more about China. So I say hit that subscribe button and also share this video to other people whom you may think will be helped with this, who may have their perceptions changed about China. So that's it, y'all. Bye.